I
Yeah,
think we
go on.
need the right back. We need the right back.
Do you need Djed Spence because you've got two right backs already, or do you need another striker? I think Raheem Sterling for Spurs would be a fantastic
You
opportunity.
just gassed me up now. Now I proper want Raheem Sterling. Now you said that.
There we go. Welcome back to another episode of Friday Night Counter Attack. We are back again. This one's a part one of a part two on this podcast. So later on, we're going to be talking to non-league footballer Sean Higgins, and it's going to be fantastic to learn from him about the life of a non-league footballer in England and what he's getting up to in pre-season so far, which should be good fun. And to begin the podcast, if you've clicked on the title, you know we're talking about Tottenham Hotspur today. So who better to bring on for our Tottenham Hotspur chat than Ollie, our resident Tottenham Hotspur fan, all the way out in Vietnam. Ollie, it's good to see you again, my friend. How are you doing?
Yeah, good to see you too, man. Hopefully, obviously I'm out in Vietnam, so hopefully the connection between us isn't too bad, and your listeners aren't deafened by my speaker quality.
Nah, it's all good. They know it's you and it's coming from Vietnam as well. And shout out to all of our Vietnamese listeners out there as well, back in Vietnam, which will be good. But yeah, Ollie, just so we can get back to where we were kind of speaking of with Tottenham as well. I mean, we predicted it kind of before in mid-season you'd finish for European football, but we never knew you'd finish for Champions League football. So first things first, how gassed are you that next season you are in the Champions League and you may actually get to see some really good football and really good players coming into Spurs this summer?
No, I'm still laughing at the Arsenal capitulation, to be honest. Like, I don't know, I felt it. When they had that game against Newcastle, like the energy around Spurs was they were gonna blow it. And I don't know, it makes it so sweet the fact that Arsenal blew it, you know. Can't believe we got it because the amount of times I said, nah, it's never gonna happen. Even like the time we lost to Burnley and like Conte went mad like to the press conference after.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's never gonna happen. And then just the consistency ever since. Well, it kind of deserved it in a way because top four is like it's the best of a bad bunch really. But the way we finished the season compared to the way Arsenal finished, yeah, definitely I was so gassed to get it, man. And the quality of players we can attract now, it's just it's good times to be a Yid.
I mean, even in January when you got Kulusevski and you got Bentancur in as well, quality players that you got who actually enforce that team a bit further as well, because you always had that missing piece of the puzzle midfield, and Bentancur, I thought, was a fantastic player for you to actually sign as well. And Kulusevski was in shout for being one of the best players of the season, one of the best ever January signings that we've ever seen, and especially in that game against Man City and even against Liverpool, to be fair as well. He did really well in your attack, and the way that Conte plays as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing where he will be building next for Tottenham Hotspur as well going forward.
Kulusevski was just like instant impact and exactly what the team needed at the time. And yeah, he's just firing like non-stop, assists, goals. Yeah, love that guy, man.
I'm really interested to see what you think of Ivan Perisic, because Ivan Perisic has already signed on a free transfer as well, Ollie. And where do you reckon he'll play? Do you reckon he'll be part of that top three with Son, Kane, and Kulusevski, or do you reckon he'll be a left wing back under Antonio Conte for Tottenham Hotspur?
Well, our team's definitely crying out for the left wing back position, so I feel like that will be his main role. But my feeling is that Conte is just trying to build a squad. You know, he's not looking at a first team anymore. He's looking at a whole squad. Like he's trying to copy like the concept of, you know, you got your Liverpools, you got your Cities. They can rotate. So I feel like Perisic will be good to have him as the left wing back when, you know, when we're playing teams like a lesser opponent and they're in a low block and we're just trying to create something. I feel like he'll be the guy. But I feel like he can play anywhere, man. So yeah, top three. It's going to be really exciting to see a player of that caliber. Yeah, we would never have got him without Conte and Paratici. So yeah, exciting. What do you think? What do you know about Perisic? Where do you think he'll play?
Perisic is one of those players that you've seen torment English sides for years, man, as like a winger, proper like left-sided, right-footed winger, always cutting inside, but both-footed as well. So I think him being a utility player in this Conte side will be fantastic to really see how he'll actually be playing, because I don't think it'll be a right wing. I think it'll be rather left winger. Maybe in like those Carling Cup, and those League Cup games, FA Cup games, and especially this season as well. This season coming up in the Premier League, you do get 5 substitutes as well. So just like you mentioned there, Ollie, I agree in terms of the fact you're building a squad to compete with the likes of Liverpool, City, Chelsea, who have so many people on the bench that they can bring on of quality, not just like reserves or youth team players that they need to fill the bench up with people who you can actually bring on and actually impact the game properly as well. And there are talks of Steven Bergwijn leaving as well. So even if Bergwijn was to leave, Perisic, I still think could do a job in that front three of
definitely
of Tottenham Hotspur as well. Because even with them, when they're playing with the low block, the front three will stay up, and Perisic has still got the pace as we've seen in Serie A and for Croatia as well. It's still got the pace and the agility to still play as an attacking winger as well, which would be really good.
Now, people are saying he's pretty much in the form of his life right now, so he's not slowing down at all.
Not at all. I mean, he's reinvented under Conte, like a lot of players have been, and seeing him do well after Conte left for Spurs just shows that he's doing really well. And I know Inter finished 2nd or 3rd in Serie A, but Perisic is still running wild. And we've seen a lot recently over the last 5-10 years of all these players that are getting to their 32s, their 33s, their 34s, and they're not slowing down at all. They're not looking at retiring, because you know what? They are still at their peak of their powers, and they can still do things that they probably never could 10 years ago because of the mentality they have as a footballer as well, which is great to see.
And and it boils over to like my personal life as well. When I see these older players who, you know, we're approaching our 30s, and I see them and like the condition of their life, and it gives me confidence that, you know, I can keep my fitness up just as they are. Obviously, I'm not comparing the level, but you can really take care of your body these days, and there's enough like science out there and the nutrition to lead a good life, and, you know, keep playing football until you're old.
Definitely.
So, it's great to see.
Really great to see, and it's really inspiring as well to see that there's no ageism out there in terms of whatever you're doing in your life, in terms of what sport you're playing or how you're keeping healthy. You really can just develop yourself further as well. And even Perisic is such an example of that as well. But as we are speaking right now, Ollie, at the time of recording, there has been an announcement that Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a £25 million deal with Yves Bissouma, and there is going to be a medical happening today at the time of speaking for Yves Bissouma from Brighton for £25 million, 30 million with add-ons. What a steal that is, man. Yves Bissouma, what a guy. I wanted him at Man United. Salim, our co-host, who's normally on, he was like literally, he really wanted him at Aston Villa, but they got Boubacar Kamara as well as a holding midfielder. But what's your first thoughts to this? Because you've got Fraser Forster, you've got Perisic, who we just mentioned. Now you've got Bissouma more or less coming through. It's almost confirmed to come to Spurs. What do you think about that?
Well, firstly, as a Spurs fan, I'm used to like them deadline deals and getting shafted, like players leaving. So the fact I'm seeing like my team like straight, even before like the transfer window opened, we signed Fraser Forster up, Perisic, and now to see our first like proper kind of signing with like actually it's not free. I'm like touch wood, like I'm scared he's not coming, just because I remember when Willian was coming and then he did the medical with Spurs and went Chelsea. So I'm still a bit like I'm not going to get too gassed, but what a player, man! Exactly what our team needs as well. I feel like his defensive qualities are like just that level above what we have now. I'm not too sure about his passing. I've seen some stats that he's actually, when he does attempt passes, long range and stuff, he's really good.
His passing accuracy isn't as good as Hjulberg, Skip, or Bentancur's, but it's better than Harry Winks's. Harry Winks is meant to be that guy who's meant to be passing the ball a lot as well. So he's just got better interceptions and tackles per 90 minutes as well. These are stats I'm reading off from Opta at the moment as well. So the fact that he can do that from a holding midfield role, but he does have the energy to burst forward as well. It's really good to see that he is another guy that can hold down that midfield, and how Spurs have been playing with that 3-4-3 formation as well, having someone who can cover a lot of ground going forward and going back as well. Bissouma would be fantastic for Spurs.
I've seen people compare him to like also like a bit of a Moussa Dembele role, where he will pick up the ball in difficult positions and he'll get free and open up the pitch. So, you know, we never really replaced Moussa Dembele. So Oh, I'm excited. It feels like it's already a done deal, but I'm still like holding off hope. Like I'm a bit worried still, but let's see, man. Let's see. He should be, as I said, like a great player. Now we've got to focus on building a squad, so he'll be like fantastic.
He is my guy that I wish Man United had signed, but I'm just really happy that
I
it's
think you
gone to a
need it.
bigger club. Because I
I think
was
you need
watching,
him really at
I,
Man U.
I really needed him as well. I really needed him, someone of his quality, someone of his caliber. And it's been one of those things that's been going on for a good couple of years now when Bissouma has actually been linked with a lot of these teams, these bigger clubs as well. And like you said, if it does go through, you've signed players like Ndombele, who hasn't really gone well. Dele Alli had a really bad way to end his career at Spurs as well. But even just like you said, you hadn't really replaced Moussa Dembele, and Bissouma could be another alternative to Moussa Dembele. Probably a mix of Wanyama and Dembele, I would say as well. Personally, it's got a bit of both in him from what I've seen at Brighton. And I got the pleasure of watching Man United versus Brighton last season as well at Old Trafford, and Bissouma just absolutely obliterated McTominay and Fred and Matic in that midfield as well. And you're just kind of there, like, it's in front of our eyes. 60,000 people can see this, 70,000 people can see this. He's good enough to play for us. Just bring him into the club. It needed to be done, but shout out to Petrici for actually getting that sorted for Spurs as well, which would be really
I can't believe we've pulled it off. Like so cheap. I don't know. Surely there's other teams interested. But let's see what happens.
Paratici, I mispronounced the name, not Petrici, Paratici.
Paratici.
I'll say it with a Italian
maybe
accent.
A hand gesture as well. Yeah, use your hand.
You can't forget it now. Paratici. That would be cool.
We're probably saying it wrong still, but
we're probably butchering his name on this podcast, which ain't the one as well. Really isn't the one. Oh my days, man. Now, again, we're going back into Spurs as well. Djed Spence has been a revelation this season for Middlesbrough and Nottingham Forest last season as well, especially getting them promoted in the Premier League as well. He's now being linked with a move from Spurs to Spurs from Nottingham Forest, and obviously that would be quite a step up for him from Championship football straight into Premier League football as well. But you've also got the likes of Emerson Royale, Matt Doherty there as your right backs as well. What do you know of Djed Spence, Ollie? And do you think he'd be a suitable replacement or even just a backup for Doherty or Emerson?
So I'm quite excited about this one because obviously he showed his quality in the FA Cup against big teams. The one I'm thinking is Arsenal.
Yes.
When it was with Forest, and he's caught their eye. Apparently, Dortmund are interested in him. I think there's a whole host of clubs. Obviously, Nottingham Forest want to retain him, but it seems like if Conte wants him, and is crying out for a really good right back and right wing back, and if Conte feels like he can develop him, from what I've seen of him, I like the way he's trying to attack, and he's putting crosses in, and I think we need the English quota as well. So I really want to get this one done because I don't really trust Emerson Royale, and Doherty was doing a great job, but he picks up the injury. Will he come back strong again? I don't know, but yeah, I hope we can get that one done because we need some youth as well, and English player, take that.
Get that vibrancy in from Djed Spence as well. Obviously, after he had a fantastic FA Cup run with Nottingham Forest, fantastic player to really watch as well. I'm not going to keep banging on about how Man United should be finding all of these players, but the fact that Man United aren't, but Spurs actually are in for a lot of these players, makes it quite refreshing to see that some of the players that we are actually watching are actually doing quite well to be linked with some of these teams going forward as well. And it'd be fantastic to see Djed Spence as a right wing back for Tottenham Hotspur going forward this season. Seeing him in the Premier League, especially even if he just stay with Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough sell him to Nottingham Forest, would be really good to see going forward as well.
I heard he was like looking for guaranteed playing time wherever he went next. I heard it was like a priority for him. So if we're willing to give that to him, that's pretty that's a lot of trust to go for a young man. But he seems confident. So
yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, when you're seeing some of these fullbacks like Trent, Reece James, even to an extent Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you're seeing a lot of them that have been playing since they were 19, 20 years old every other game in the Premier League, in League One or Championship, wherever they went on loan to as well, respectively. So it's not the worst of things to be demanding top quality game time as well. It could even be like a proper 16, 17 games in the first season may not be the best thing for him. But if he's getting double that time for Spurs, be even better. Could be in with a shout for England as well, which would be really good to see going forward. Like England don't have enough right backs at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be tough to get in there.
So many of them to go through as well. But now another player I wanted to talk to you about. This one's kind of left field, but I kind of want to know your thoughts because I do know you like this player quite a lot, Lee. Christian Eriksen coming up to the end of his contract at Brentford. Man United are officially in for him, but there are talks that Spurs could be in for him as well. So literally, just like I was building up the whole, Man United should get this player, but Spurs are getting him. This is actually a head-to-head, apparently, in terms of how Spurs are looking forward to getting maybe Christian Eriksen back on a free transfer. What do you have to kind of respond to that? Do you think it'd fit into this Conte system? Do you reckon it'd be a bit part player with the condition that is in? What do you think, Ollie?
Like, I think maybe some of the fan base is split, but I think the majority would love him back because, number one, it's a free transfer. So, we still have money allocated for buying other talents.
Yeah.
I think he loves the club. I think he left because, he needed a new challenge. And, you can't blame him for leaving. He went on and did a madness. I think it took him a while to get into the squad at Inter.
Under Antonio Conte as well, they had to find the right position for him. It wasn't one of the front three. He was playing as like another one of the midfielders as well because they made it a 3-5-2 under Antonio Conte. So he was one of the attacking midfielders in that midfield five as well. So that was something that he had to adjust to playing a new system under Antonio Conte.
But yeah, as we said, with the 5 substitutes, I think, and building a squad, I think he could be a real game changer. And it's what our team need because Lo Celso didn't work, Ndombele didn't work. These players came in to almost replace Eriksen, and maybe we're going to replace Eriksen with Eriksen. And I'm all for that because he's got the quality. Especially as we talk about like the low block, we come up against a lot. With these lesser teams, and you need someone like Eriksen to pick out a pass or whip in a free kick, just anything. And I feel like he's got that quality, and he knows Conte. But then on the other side of things, he might fancy a new challenge with Man United, and I'm sure he knows Ten Hag. He was training with Ajax during his time when he was trying to get his fitness back. So maybe they can be persuaded. Maybe it comes down to playing time, but we've got Champions League football to offer. It could be a pull, but we'll see. You take him at Man U, right?
I would take him at Man United in a heartbeat, just like that. I'd love to see Christian Eriksen at Old Trafford playing for Manchester United. I've suffered from Christian Eriksen scoring the winning goal against Manchester United at Old Trafford once before as well. So it's not great for me to watch.
Oh, what season was that? I'm trying to think.
That was 13-14. It was when Tim Sherwood was your manager. Adebayor scored and Eriksen scored as well. And I'm like, for God's sake, we can't be that bad. We need to Spurs even more. But it was a David Moyes type team as well. So it was one of those Moyes. It really wasn't good for us that season as well. But no, Christian Eriksen, I've always appreciated him. He's always been a player I've admired, and we've spoken before about him on the podcast and off the podcast as well, about how incredible he is technically on the ball and how clever he is off the ball with his vision, off the ball runs as well. And even with the likes of him coming back and playing for Brentford, it was such a joy to see him come back in the way that he did as well. And honestly, if Man United were in for Christian Eriksen, at the time of speaking I would love to see him at Manchester United. Maybe not playing as a every other game type player, maybe actually challenging Bruno Fernandes for that first team position once he gets his fitness back up as well, because that's been an issue recently at Man United when some of these players aren't playing well. They're not dropped to be replaced by the likes of someone who isn't as good, like the likes of Matt or Lingard. Didn't get as much game time when Bruno Fernandes wasn't performing, for example. So with the likes of Ten Hag, who has got that relationship already with Christian Eriksen, I don't see why not. It would be fantastic to see Christian Eriksen back in a top club as well, playing European football. And he has recently said Champions League football would be great, but it's not a priority for him just yet. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that as well. And if he does, I'll say this on camera, I will get a Christian Eriksen Man United shirt. That's how much I appreciate Christian Eriksen. Not Ronaldo, not Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen is my guy, which would be great. Fantastic.
As a hero, man. It's a hero. Man died, came back to life. My God.
He inspired so many different people across the world with his fight going forward as well. Fantastic to see. But yeah, let's just go through the team, how we're looking 1 to 11, Ollie? Because at the back, it looks like Hugo Lloris is going to keep his place for next season. So nothing really worrying about that as well. Right wing back, we talked about Doherty, Djed Spence, Emerson Royale. So that could be a thing as well. Do you see any new centre backs coming in? Because there were talks of Bastoni from Inter Milan coming in to be your next centre back. Because who would you have? You'd have like Sanchez. You'd have you'd have Sanchez, Dyer, and Ben Davies. But would it be something like Sanchez, Dyer, and Bastoni as your back three if Bastoni were to come in? Because he looks like a marquee signing for Spurs. If you were to get him, you would be paying around 50-60 million pounds for him, I think.
Yeah. No, it's a shame because it looks like that deal is off. His agent came out and said, he wants to stay. I mean, he's like an Inter boy, and he's still young, so maybe he doesn't feel like he's ready to move on or doesn't really want to move on. It's fair enough. Inter are doing quite well these days. But from my understanding is Tottenham are looking for a left-sided centre-back. So obviously we've got Romero on the right. We've got Sanchez to cover, Dyer in the middle, and then Davies on the left. I think he's looking for a competition with Davies. And I heard he's even open for offers for Sanchez. So I expect a centre-back or maybe two to come in. The talk of Bastoni, Bremer. Do you know him?
Bremer, Bremer from Torino. He's a decent Brazilian centre back as well, so it'd be really good to see how he would fit into this team. But he's like a right-footed right centre back as well, so he'd be quite good going forward. There were links with Pau Torres, from Villarreal, quality player.
I'm hearing something. Maybe we could try like ship off Lo Celso to Villarreal and get a deal for him, but. Whether he, I heard Man United are also in for Torres. So
Man United have been linked with Pau Torres since literally the day he was born. Only with Man United, they literally last for like 2-3 years, and then he'll move over to someone else, and we'll be like, "Oh, we should got him," and then he does really well. So Pau Torres is someone who I've wanted at Man United for 2 seasons now since I've seen him play. Fantastic ball playing centre back, such composure on the ball as well. He'll probably be Spain's first choice centre back at the World Cup in Qatar 2022 as well. So if you were to buy someone, it would be the time is now before Qatar, before their value shoots up even more as well. So Pau Torres, if you were to go in for him, if Conte does want to spend the money for him, because that's the way I kind of see it. You've got a couple of good free transfers in recently, which has gone really well for you. And you spent for Kulusevski in January. Your big signing, from what I can see, will be the centre-back. And if you do have to pay 60-70 million plus Lo Celso to Villarreal, I think that'd be a fantastic deal for Spurs, personally, to get Pau Torres in.
No, honestly, I think we're screaming out for a bit of a marquee signing. I know, we made big movements with Bissouma, but it's not really splashing the cash. So it would be nice to see us splash the cash. There's also some talk of Richarlison, splashing the cash for him, maybe 50-60 million.
Would you take Richarlison?
I would, yeah. I think he's quite versatile, and we need to start resting Kane and Son more, over-reliant on them. So if we could get him through the door, that would be great. But I think Chelsea 1 and 2.
One player I think would be decent at Spurs, if you were to have got him, what's his name? Mark Guhi, the one from Crystal Palace. Right? Yeah. I think he'd be a decent centre-back for you guys. I know you were talking about if Sanchez was to leave, but if you were to have got him, that would be a decent splash out if you were to splash like 25-30 million on him, because I know Palace paid 18-20 million last summer for him. But if he's interested in Champions League football, if he's interested in keeping that competition up, because he is in the England squad at the moment as well, I think it would be a really good shout for him personally.
No, I agree. And again, I go back to the English quota, we haven't got much homegrown talent in the squad these days. So if we could get him in, it's great. Where did Palace buy him from? I'm not even sure.
They bought him from Chelsea last summer. So it's only been at Chelsea. It's only been at Palace for 1 season.
So would he want to come Spurs then?
I wouldn't say no to that. I think if you could guarantee him first team football as well, that would be really good to see personally.
So he's right-sided though, you say?
He's right-sided, but just in terms of if you were to sell Sanchez, if he was to go off somewhere, then you've got someone who has got that Premier League experience, who's just as versatile across the back three as well, could play anywhere and can actually play with the ball to his feet as well. Would be Mark Guhi, I would think. That'd be quite decent.
Take that.
Yeah. And then left wing back, we've got Perisic, got Sessegnon. What about Reguilon? Is Reguilon looking to stay into this Spurs team, or is he looking to move on anywhere soon?
There's talk that they're open to offers for Reggie, just because I don't feel like he's really fit in Conte's system.
Yeah.
He's more of a left back there, so I quite like it. I'd like him to stay, but maybe if they're thinking get some money for him and then replace him with someone else. I just don't know who else. I haven't seen us linked with anyone else. Kind of almost feels like on the left is kind of going to be Sessegnon, Perisic, which would be great because Sessegnon can learn from Perisic.
Yeah.
And he's always going to get an injury, Sessegnon. So I think we do need that. I'm going to butcher his name, Regulon backup.
Reggie.
Or just like to have them, interchangeable would be great. I don't really want to see him go, but we'll see.
If you had to find someone, a dream signing for left wing back, Ollie, off the top of your head, if he does go, would you think you would need a third left wing back? Would you reckon 2 will do for this season?
Just knowing Sessegnon's injury record and knowing that Perisic could also be deployed in other positions, I'd want more of a solid option there.
Yeah.
I can't even think of anyone off the top of my head who could come in. Maybe it'd just be any man from like Serie A or something.
Yeah, there are quite a few people from Serie A that would be good options as well. Maybe if Djed Spence was to come, he could play on the left wing back as well. It'd be really good to see if he could be quite versatile moving over there.
Yeah, we even had Doherty playing left back as well. So if he's up for the job,
why not?
Yeah.
I think Filip Kostic, if you were to have got him from Frankfurt, the Europa League winner, he would be the guy. He would be the main guy to get. Because Filip Kostic has been a banging player for a good 4 or 5 years, if I remember correctly, from Frankfurt. So he'd be someone that I would like to see in the Premier League. But that's more of a dream signing if he does want to leave Eintracht Frankfurt as well, because they've recently qualified for the Champions League after winning against Rangers going forward as well. Right, now we're on to midfield. We've spoken about how Bissouma's recently just gone for a medical, so that'll be good news as well. You've got Hjorberg there, you've got Winks there, you've got Skip there. Do you think you need one more centre mid in that midfield to kind of not really challenge the likes of Bissouma or the likes of Hjorberg or the likes of Bentancur as well, but really just kind of elevate that midfield a bit in terms of, you know what, we're a Champions League team now, we need a bit more maturity, a bit more quality in there as well. Maybe even more of an attacking box-to-box presence as well, because I know he's not going to move to Spurs, but I think Yuri Tillemans, with the way he wants to leave Leicester, would be a decent signing for you guys as well, as a quality box-to-box kind of player. Got that attacking flair about him as well, and has got a goal in him as well. I know we mentioned Christian Eriksen earlier, but do you have anyone in mind that you think would be a pretty decent player to bring as an attacking midfielder or another centre mid for yourself, Ollie?
I'll be honest, my heart is set on Eriksen, as we mentioned, and having Bissouma as well to do more of the defensive work, it would free up someone like Eriksen. Obviously Yuri Tillemans would be great, but I kind of have a feeling we're not going to sign him just because we've got Bissouma. So maybe they're a bit almost like for like in some ways. But yeah, I don't know who else I can think of really.
Because you are getting rid of Dumbele, most likely. You're getting rid of Lo Celso, most likely as well. Yeah.
And Winks as well, apparently.
Do you reckon Winks will leave as well? I think he's always going to just stay there as like that extra backup player. But it'd be good to see him leave and play first team football elsewhere. But if you were to get rid of these 3 centre mids, bringing in one more midfielder, you've had that talks of Lucas Paqueta, the Brazilian player from Lyon. Decent player he is. I mean, he didn't do that well against West Ham in the Europa League, but he had a decent Europa League campaign, a decent league season. Do you reckon Paqueta could do the job for Spurs?
Yeah, I mean, I'd take him. I think it'd be an upgrade on Ndombele. Maybe we could do some swap deal. Yeah, but actually,
Lyon to Lyon, literally.
Yeah, just literally come back into my mind. James Ward-Prowse, we always link with him, but
would you take him though?
I would, because we need that. I think we need that, as I mentioned with Eriksen, someone who can whip a nice ball in to a low block, someone who can take a free kick and just get a goal out of nothing. I feel like I think our team could really do with him. And English quota again, but he'll come with that English tax, right? So
that Premier League tax as well will be like 35, 40 million as well, especially after being in the England squad as well, like we mentioned Mark Guhi as well.
I think he'll be
40 million, something like that.
I reckon it'll be a 50 million kind of guy. Maybe we can get like a swap deal, ship off Winks to them or something.
That'd be
Poor
really
Winks,
good
man.
as well.
Poor
Yeah, it'd be good. I wouldn't mind seeing James Ward-Prowse in European football and Champions League football as well. So if he were to go to Spurs, that would be a decent offer. But if you were to get Christian Eriksen as your only midfielder after Bissouma, that's still not the worst thing in the world, because I know the way that you're playing, you've got the focus on just the two centre midfielders, because everywhere else on the wings is where Conte likes to thrive. The two wingers on the outside, the two fullbacks on the outside as well. And then Harry Kane will be dropping in and out as well, like you said as well, going forward. And speaking of Harry Kane, Ollie, what are your thoughts on Harry Kane? Because obviously Haaland's recently just kind of signed that deal for Manchester City. It's not really looking likely that he's going to be moving anywhere anytime soon. Do you reckon he'll be signing a new contract, or do you reckon Spurs will be looking for maybe another striker, like you said, in terms of Richarlison, to kind of look as a backup player or another striker to play alongside of Harry Kane?
I do think Kane loves Spurs. I do think he wants to stay as long as the ambition's there. The way I see it, as long as Conte is with us, we're going to have Kane, because he's not going to go to City now. He'll never. I'll say he's never going to go to Chelsea, because he can't do that to us, man.
Can't do it. Can't go to Chelsea. They kill strikers' careers. Literally, would not be right for them at all.
Yeah. Obviously, Liverpool just signed. Forget his name.
Darwin Núñez.
There we go.
Painful seeing that happen. I was so upset seeing Darwin Núñez go to.
Is that another one that Man U should have got up, right?
It's someone that I've kind of watched since he's kind of moved to Benfica. So I was kind of there like, yeah, this is a guy. Let's get him in. He'll be really good. But yeah, just wasn't the case, and Liverpool just swooped under us and got him.
Yeah.
It was great for Liverpool. But yeah, Harry Kane, if he does end up signing another new deal as well, I think literally he's got the ambition with Antonio Conte there as manager. This is one of those things that you want to kind of see, and you really want to see Son being a bit more committed as well, like you said. He's signed a recent contract as well. He's quite happy to be playing for Spurs, and it's one of the most dynamic duos in world football at the moment, Kane and Son, and Kulusevski obviously there as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if you do get one more attacking player, if you do get another attacking player. There are links with Raheem Sterling, surprisingly, but Raheem Sterling would be a really good player to have as another striker as well. There's also talks of Paulo Dybala, but that's just in terms of because it's a free transfer. His wages will be a lot higher than expected as well. But is there an attacking player that you've seen, Ollie, that you think, you know what, Spurs could kind of do with not just another backup player like Lucas or Bergwijn, but someone who can actually challenge these kind of players? And I know you mentioned Richarlison earlier, but are there any other personal ones that you've kind of seen and you thought, you know what, it'd be decent for us?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. I'll be honest, like my heart is set on Richarlison now, but if I was to choose someone else, I don't even know who I'd go. Obviously, Sterling would be quality, but I don't think he'd come to us because we can't really guarantee him to be a top dog, and he'd probably want to be a top dog.
I would disagree with that, to be fair. I think if you had Sterling, Son, and Kane as your front three, and Sterling's contract runs out at Man City next summer, with the likes of Haaland and Alvarez who they've signed this summer, I think you could. I think you would be able to give him like proper football, Champions League football, and with his link up already with Harry Kane at the England squad as well. Maybe spending 35, 40 million on Raheem Sterling for Tottenham, moving him back to London, would actually be a really good deal. I would like to see Raheem Sterling play a lot more football than he has. He gets a lot of discredit by a lot of Man City fans by the way that he plays. He's not the best of players. They always like to complain about the way that he plays as a winger still, and not really a Pep Guardiola type of Pep roulette merchant, for example. But with the likes of his contract moving out, with the likes of his contract running out next summer as well, I think it would be fantastic to see. And even if he does have to rotate with Kulusevski or Lucas or Son even as well, missing a game or two isn't the worst thing in the world. And Harry Kane and Sterling have already got that link up already. Just bringing Son into it, or bringing Son into the Kane and Sterling equation would be even better. But it's just if Spurs want to go down that road of going for someone who is proven, Premier League proven, scored over 100 Premier League goals as well, nearly 100 England caps as well, going to be there for England, starting for England in the World Cup as well. So I think Raheem Sterling for Spurs would be a fantastic opportunity.
You just gassed me up now. Now I proper want Raheem Sterling now, you said that.
Brother, I'm selling Raheem Sterling. I'm selling Raheem Sterling to you because I know Gabriel Jesus is looking at Arsenal, and if he was obviously to leave as well, Sterling and Jesus were to leave, go for Raheem Sterling, I would say. Just don't go for Marcus Rashford. He's unreliable. And I wouldn't go for Gareth Bale because he would be unreliable as well.
Yeah.
Richarlison or Raheem Sterling, if you're asking me out of the two, who would I really want? I'd go for Raheem Sterling, personally.
Or can one of your listeners forward this podcast onto Paratici and Conte? They need to know.
I feel like some people do listen in the footballing world. They do listen to Friday Night Counter Attack because some things that we say actually comes into existence. Like we talked about how Cucurella was a really good left back and he'd be really good at Man City. And now they're linked with him as well. We talked about how Haaland was going to go to Man City and it's happened as well. Then again, we spoke about how Ronaldo would reject Man City and it happened as well. So it's quite good. Mostly when you talk about Man City.
Quality content, bro.
Yeah, it needs to be done. It needs to be done. But yeah, those are the kind of players I think would be really good at Spurs. It's great to see that you've actually spending the money and Daniel Levy is actually backing the manager fully because it's what happens. Yeah, you've been saying this for years, and I thought, you know what, it's about damn time. So I'm really glad to see that it's actually happened as well. So, yeah, the players that I would like to see come in: Raheem Sterling, Christian Eriksen, Pau Torres, Djed Spence. Those are the four that I think would be really good to go in. Mark Guehi, if Sanchez leaves, that's how I see it as an objective point of view. But just to round up what we discussed, Ollie, who would you want to see come in for Tottenham Hotspur if you had to pick your top 3 or 4 players to bring in? By the way, Bissouma's medical has been completed, so that's an official announcement.
Okay, brilliant. So, all right. So I'm going to go with Richarlison. I just think I feel like he's got something to prove. He's a fire. But yeah, the price tag might be a bit too much. So I want to see. It's either him or Sterling now. If you've got me gassed up about Sterling, or even you could say Gabriel Jesus, right? Jesus.
If Jesus goes to Spurs from Man City, that would be crazy because I think he would want Champions League football. Here's again another player on the cusp of being in and out of the Brazil team for the World Cup. Shout out the Brazil kit as well. It looks sick, by the way. I need to show you that later. May have to get one before the World Cup starts as well. But Jesus definitely needs a starting position as well. And him even being a backup to Kane or playing with Kane at the top as well would be great. But Sterling over Jesus for me personally. But if you were to go for Jesus, I can completely understand with Jesus and Richarlison and Harry Kane. What an attacking lineup you'd have as well.
So yeah, and then I think Pau Torres would be quality. We need the centre back. And then I'd love to see Eriksen back as well. I think our team's crying out for that.
What about Gareth Bale?
I think I'd love him back, but you know, he's not that guy anymore, man. I'll be honest.
It's not the one. Is past his sell-by date at top Premier League football, unfortunately. Hopefully, he does it for Wales at the World Cup, just not against England, against the USA and Iran. That'd be sick. So, trust me. No, it'd be really good to see. But yeah, Pau Torres, Richarlison, you said Gabriel Jesus and Christian Eriksen on the 3. So those were your 4 that you'd be picking for Spurs as well, which would be good. Good going forward. What about Djed Spence? Did you want him as well?
I fully want him as well, man. I can't choose just 3. I'm too greedy. I think we need the right back. We need the right back.
Do you need Djed Spence because you've got 2 right backs already, or do you need another striker because you're looking at maybe Bergwijn, looking at maybe leaving? I would say.
I'd say like most essential for me now we have Bissouma is an attacking player, a right back, and a centre back. I think we could maybe wait until January to improve the midfield again. But man, exciting times, you know. I've never been this gassed over summer transfer period because normally, you know, we're looking dead in the market. We're doing the dodgy dealings last day. So it's crazy, man. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Paratici and Conte have got Spurs purring this summer as well. So it's good to see how they're going forward this summer with their transfer deadline deals as well. Because again, the deadline is going to be September and November. Everyone's off to the World Cup, so they want to get their players in early. They want to get them up for pre-season. Premier League starts in August, like the 1st or 2nd week of August as well. So it's going to be mad to see how it really goes as well. So no, it was really good to hear your thoughts, Ollie. Thank you very much for being on this part of the podcast. We're now going to... No, anytime. Hopefully we get to chat to each other a lot more coming up this summer as well about Spurs and everything with England and whatever's happening going forward would be really good as well. But yeah, this is the end of part 1 of our podcast. Stick around for part 2 where we've got non-league footballer Sean Higgins on the podcast. So thank you very much, Ollie. Everyone, see you in a bit.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.